So now that I've finished doing this little bit, the outside and the inside, there's a nice little way you can test to make sure all the pieces are clean enough. You put the booze on top of a gas barrel and you just spin it. If you can spin it and it spins by itself, like a top sort of, it's clean enough. Then make sure that this fits in nicely. You can go ahead and try, and if it spins around inside, no problem. I mean, it's going to be the same basic idea. That's all clean. Now comes the annoying part that takes the most strength out of all of this. We're going to clean the barrel. So I'm going to take all of these long rods and make a nice long pole here. And there's 3 plus 1 that has a piece that rotates on the top. I'm not going to put the rotation one on first yet. I'm going to take this piece right here and screw it on so that it doesn't rotate. Take one of these papers, wrap it around here. It should stick on, no problem, and put it through my gas tube. And as you can see, it came out the other side somewhat dirty. Do that one more time. And again, came out dirty. Then I'm going to check to make sure it's clean and nice and shiny, very beautiful. And then I'm going to remove this black thing and take one of these two. This one, the one in my left hand, it looks like my right hand, I know, but Apple switches the 2 sides. It's got black little hairs, and this one's got silver little hairs and is spiral. They're both spiral shaped. Take the silver one first. Put it on top of the rotating stick and stick that on top of it all. Make sure that's nice and straight. Take the barrel, stick this in the barrel, and first time it's hard, but then nice and easy. Now ideally I want to do this 20 to 30 times, but since I only shot a little bit yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and not worry about it and do it just a few times like this. Should be good enough. Now, normally this next part isn't necessary, but I like to do it because even though I'm not really a gun person, I take pride in having a clean gun. Take this gold part, put it on top. Take this white sheet and wrap it around the gold. I do it diagonally because otherwise it's too thick to fit in. There we go. And this time I'm going to enter it from the front, so otherwise the white sheet comes off, and that's really annoying. So I'm just going to push it all the way through, all the way back. And of course, I lose it at the end, but the point is, I got it through, and it wasn't very dirty. And I'm going to look through and make sure it's clean, both sides. There. That one's clean enough. Next I'm going to take the other of these spirally things, put it on the edge, and we're going to start the greasing process. This is the end bit. So here I have a tube of grease, gun grease. I know it doesn't look very spectacular. And inside I've got this nice little brush, and I'm going to just put a little layer on this barrel thing. I'm going to grease the inside of the barrel. The reason we use grease, just in case you don't know, is because if water gets on or inside the gun, especially inside the barrel, what happens when oxygen, iron, and water get together? Rust. So we grease, basically, if we're going to put it into storage, we're going to grease all the pieces. But since I'm going back to the service in 3 days, I'm just going to grease the parts that are prone to being rusted. So that means the inside of the barrel, grease the bolt, and can't be worried about getting your hands dirty, because they are going to get dirty. I'm just going to, looks like I'm fondling it or something, and get some grease on my fingers. See, nice and dirty. You know, a gun is like a woman, right? You gotta give her some love and attention. I know, I sound like I'm some kind of gun-crazed person, but I'm really not. I don't enjoy doing this. Anyway, so once this is covered in grease, put the bolt back together, and I'm going to grease the barrel. This is the part that gets grease, just the outside. Just a thin layer of grease. Also, any moving parts get greased, so I'm just going to grease the outside of this. Then the best way is just to get some grease on your hands and pull down the spring and grease underneath where the spring's going to be moving. There we go. Nice. The outside of the gas tube. I'm not going to grease the inside because I don't need to. I'm going to give a bit of grease the inside of the plastic and the bipod. I'm just going to do that. Now, you don't have to, but you can grease this part. I'm not going to grease it. Well, I guess I'll just grease a little bit just because I'm talking, but we only really need to grease if we're putting it into deep storage. The trigger mechanism. Just going to get the last bit of my grease off my fingers and get all of that grease off of me. There we go. Now it's time to put the gun back together. I'm going to go ahead and do that right away.